Why the American dream feels out of reach. So maybe you, as my family, are thinking about moving abroad, maybe to Mexico. Welcome to this channel in which I will be documenting everything, our experiences, and the struggles that will come with the decision that we made, and that is to move to Playa del Carmen. So first of all, why did we make the decision of leaving the United States? This was not an easy decision, and I'm sure you're struggling to make that decision as well. As I speak more about it, I come to find out that there are many more families that are thinking about going back to their countries or just moving to a different one because just like us, we have lost hope. I am sure this is not going to be an easy journey. I am sure we're going to find struggles that I cannot even think of, but I am willing to go through them. I think they're worth it. So I created this channel from the American dream to the Caribbean scene because I want to document everything. The high, the lows, all the process, the struggles, what it feels right, basically everything. And so if you are thinking about moving, I encourage you to subscribe, share the journey with us. I would love to have you here. I want to put everything in one single place. Not only for us to remember everything that we went through, for people like you that are looking for something new, but also for my loved ones, my siblings, their kids, my friends, who are in a very similar situation that we're in. And if you relate, I invite you to stay. I know that there are many families out there in the same situation. And if you came across with this video, it's because you're probably thinking about making the same move. I'm the youngest one in my family. My older brothers opened the door for me to come to the US, and I am so thankful for that. Now I want to return the favor and open the door back. We're Mexicans, and I want to go back to my country. I am so grateful for everything that the US gave us. I live with a divided heart. And for the longing that never was. But I am choosing to act for my husband's health, for our kids, and for our future. I've been living here in this country for 21 years, almost 22. It's more than half of my life. This is my country as well. And again, I am living with that divided heart, but with the fact that this is no longer a place for us. And that is okay too. Why the American dream feels out of reach. In the 1950s and the 1960s, one single income was enough to cover basic needs for a family. A mortgage, a car, education, and even college. Of course, life was also stressful, but at least the math added up. These days, it's basically impossible. Today, the math is broken. Before, home prices were typically 2 to 3 times a typical annual income, whereas today it runs between 6 and 8 a typical income. And college costs has multiplied many times over. And healthcare bills can wreck a family's budget. And real wages haven't kept up with the demands of housing, education, childcare, and the medical costs. And in most cases, both parents have to work. And even then, many of them live paycheck by paycheck. Weirdly enough, the United States is still the richest country in the world. But in everyday life, millions of families feel the complete opposite. Poverty, we feel stressed, overworked, anxious, and fearful. If we look at the numbers, the statistics, you're gonna find a very cruel reality and a projection of the future that doesn't seem very promising. 90% of the kids in the 1940s did better than their parents. But in the 1980s, only 50% actually did better than their parents. Guess how much it is right now? Only 8%. That's the future of my kids and probably yours. And in 2025, 10 million people face food insecurity, meaning they don't know if you're gonna have enough at least to survive. And the people that are becoming homeless are increasing by the day. No wonder why 1 out of 4 people live with a mental health condition. Depression affects millions. Tens of thousands of people decide that they no longer want to continue with this pain. And you know what that means. I cannot really say the word, but you know what it means. And 100,000 are for overdose. And I really want to mention that addiction comes from the inability to face the reality. When it becomes so heavy, people choose to numb themselves because they can no longer deal with it. And instead of judging them, I can truly understand why this reality has come unbearable. So this is not character flaws. Instead, they are the human symptoms of economic pressure. We as a society are the result of our material conditions, the housing cost, whether the healthcare is accessible, how long you commute, your social ties, and your contact with nature. All of this changes who you are as an individual and how you respond to external situations. So when the basics are treated as commodities instead of rights, stress, violence, and addictions naturally arise. It's not that the people have failed. Instead, this is just a symptom of a rotten economy. This structure no longer works for a typical family. I want to speak a little bit about the day that we made the decision, or I should say I made the decision to move back to Mexico. It was February 23rd, 2025. That morning, my husband woke up and said that he didn't feel right, that his head felt like it was about to explode. Obviously, I freaked out. He tried sitting, he tried standing, he tried walking, he tried relaxing, he tried to go back to sleep. And all I kept thinking is, I need to take my husband to the ER. Both looked at each other and we didn't know what to do because he doesn't have health insurance. It is too expensive to afford and we cannot get it through the government. He tried to go back to sleep and I kept checking on him, making sure that he was okay. Obviously, I was very stressed out. I was very nervous. And that day, I was so scared. I feared for his life. That was not the first day I felt that way. I mean, it doesn't take much to understand that if you don't sleep well, because he only sleeps 4 to 5 hours a day for years and years, obviously his health is going to decline. And so throughout this time, I've been living in fear. And that day was when I decided to tell him, because we had been speaking about it, to potentially move into Mexico and just start a new life there. But that day I told him, I am not going to wait any longer. I am not wait until something happens to you and there's no going back. And we're going to regret not making the decision right now. So I am making the decision today and I will talk to the kids. I knew that my kids were not going to take it in the best way. They are teenagers. They have their lives here, their friends. But I figure it would be a lot harder if they had to grow up without a dad. My husband is a driver, and for him not being able to sleep well is just not doable. It's just not. When we had our children, my husband and I decided that I would stay with them. We made that decision. We knew that we were going to be struggling financially, but we knew it was a good investment of our time, of my time. Now that they're older, I certified as a fitness coach, as a nutritionist, and me being a pro bodybuilder helped me to start my business. But as any other business, it does take time. And I was not going to wait until I had a full roster of clients. Meanwhile, my husband's health kept declining. So I told him, we are gonna sell the house and we're gonna move. Since we are both Mexicans, it made sense to go back to Mexico. I am fluent in Spanish and my husband knows some Spanish as well. So after doing research, we decided to move to Playa del Carmen. And I want to thank my friend Jovis because she's the one that told me about all the wonderful things that she has experienced since she moved to Playa del Carmen. Both of us are from San Luis Potosí, but she moved to Playa del Carmen because she just fell in love with that place. She became a real estate agent, and she's the one that's going to help us go through all the process to hopefully one day call ourselves homeowners, which I know here is never going to happen. I know Playa del Carmen isn't perfect. It's grown so fast in the last few years. There's construction all the time. There's sarcasm, but I do believe that it offers exactly what my family needs, which is walkability, just being able to be on bikes to places because it's a small place, run errands, going to school by just walking. Obviously, the beautiful beach and the healthcare, which is fantastic over there from what I've heard. Being in contact with nature every day, the beach, the jungle, the cenotes, not only as a vacation, which in reality we were never able to go on vacation except for one time. I know it will come with the struggles, but hearing people that have lived there for many years, it feels very promising. It looks very promising, and we're just very excited. When we were doing the research, we obviously had to look into the schools that they have, Montessori to nature-based, kids being exposed to 2 or 3 different languages, and meeting people from all over the world, getting to know their cultures, and just being exposed to diversity, things that really don't happen here. And also the community, and they just care more about who you are as an individual more than your political views. Playa del Carmen is only 45 minutes away from Cancun. Cancun has an international airport, and we can easily come and visit our family and our friends. Also, the property taxes are far lower than in the United States. And living smaller can actually mean living better. We have a beautiful big house here in California, but it's just not worth it. When I talk to my family and friends, one of their concerns is how safe is Mexico and how safe is Playa del Carmen. And as we did our research, we come to find out that actually the city that we live in it has more crime than Playa del Carmen. It has more rates of depression, anxiety. So the statistics are very, very clear. I know Playa del Carmen has been affected by the gentrification, and it has become a real problem for the locals. But we are Mexicans, and part of me feels like I'm contributing to that. But again, we're not big investors that we're gonna come and impose. We just want to go back to our country and feel what we never felt here. We never felt like we completely belonged. We are planning to live full-time there, support the local markets, pay taxes, and avoid choices that will push the neighbors out. So we are not parachuting. We are trying to add to the community, not to extract from it. I am so grateful for the US because although it didn't fully feel like my home, it was my home for almost 22 years. And I'm so grateful for the experiences, for the friendships, the lessons. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we are living with a divided heart. The gratitude for the good, but also with the recognition that the American dream doesn't hold for most families anymore. So instead of staying silent, I'm using the present moment as an act of radicalization, not of anger, not of resentment, but awakening, and to live differently, to prioritize differently, and to build a future that feels human, not profitable. And if you are thinking about moving, I invite you to do your research. The cost of living, your possible sources of income, healthcare options, safety, mental health and well-being of the locals, walkability, internet and infrastructure. Also nature access, because it does play a big part on your well-being and your health. Also, do your research about the community, the culture, the legal part, the residency, and the vision of life that you have. See if it aligns. Really question where you are right now and if this is something that you want for yourself, but also for your kids and their kids. Maybe this is the time, because I know we're not the only family who lives like this and that feels like this. It is heartbreaking to watch the quality of life of many families just decline. And I am hoping that my family's journey inspires you to do something about it if you're not happy. And like I said, my brothers opened the door of the US for me, and I want to open the door back for them, for anyone that needs another way. If you are interested to see where this journey takes us, subscribe. Next week, we are going to be traveling, my family and I, to Playa del Carmen to explore. And I am really curious to see my kids' reaction to this place, which will be their new home soon. Don't miss it. I will be vlogging everything. I am so committed and I am so joyful for this entire process. I was living in depression, but these plans completely changed my days and the way I feel and the way I feel about the future. I am ready to live, not just to survive.